So, as we mentioned, part of you is a Jew. And you as an individual, you grow, you go through development. And we as a people, as a nation, when we were created, went through a developmental stages. The leaving of Egypt, the going through the sea, and now finally the first actual battle of the people of Israel in this place called Rephidim. Before receiving the Torah, after leaving Egypt, we were attacked. And that's an important concept to keep in mind, because this reality is also part of our development. And we'll see tonight clear that it's not just a historical concept, oh yeah, that happened, but in fact it gives us the reason why it happened and how we fix it, which is relevant to our daily lives. And I want to put that in one step clearer, our daily lives, because the ultimate question is, how do you recover clarity? In a computer hard drive, if it crashes, it's possible to recover the information, to get it back as if you had it when you had it before. But for us, we all have moments of clarity where we see and feel it to be true, and then that clarity fades away. And all of us have that question at the top of our list: how do we get it back? And tonight I'll give you the key to how do we get it back. So, as I have here in this handout, Torah is not just a history book, although it records actual history, but it is a code. And you can only crack the code by seeing things through the eyes of how we've received it and with the clarity of sequence. So look at the sequence here of this handout, that this place was called Maisa Meriva because the Jewish people doubted God, and they said, is God with us or not? Then, the next verse, Amalek came and fought with the Jewish people in the place called Rephidim. The result, the next verse, Moshe said to Yoshua, go and pick for us men and we'll fight Amalek. In this you have the pregame, the occurrence, and how you fix it. And I'll delineate that sequence. Step one. So they go through the sea, come through the desert, they're thirsty, they complain to Moshe, why did you take us out just to die here in thirst? We should just go back to Egypt. We should have just gone back to Egypt. Now, you of course should ask the question, how, if you just saw the sea split, can you have a doubt? You just saw the sea split a month ago. That should still be resonating in your mind. You're thirsty, but how do you forget? The answer is because there are two key forms of consciousness, experiential and remembering. Experience means you have a truth, but you feel it and experience it in a real-time physical manner, like going through a sea. The next day, it becomes memory. Memory is something that logs in information. We would not be able to function without it, but when it comes back on the screen, it's only intellectual. Rarely does memory pierce into the realm of emotional, physical experience. So now I have a memory of it, but now I am thirsty. I physically feel thirst. Logically speaking, mathematically speaking, I don't think it's a cosmic joke that we went through the sea, and now we're here just to die. But I'm thirsty. And in my head, I have two voices coming at me. One, of that I just saw the sea split. Two, I'm thirsty. That's what's called the realm of doubt. Our ultimate goal is to shout out the doubt, to push that away and say, yeah, I'm going to use logic and decide between the two, and I'll allow my consciousness to be enveloped by that truth. But that's hard. We fell into the realm of doubt. What occurs then, because we were in that zone, we were attacked by the nation of Amalek. Very important footnote in Jewish history. This is the first battle. It's a template of future battles. This realm is not random. It's not random, we were just minding our own affairs and these people just came along and attacked us, anti-Semitism, people are crazy. No, there was a cause and effect in this reality. Because we were of the zone of doubt, that attracts in a magnetic realm the reality of the nation that epitomizes doubt, and that is Amalek. We have an arch enemy, the quintessential enemy opposite of the Jewish people. You may not have known this word before tonight, is called Amalek. Amalek is a nation, but most importantly, it's a force. It's a force that's within us. And when we were of the realm of doubt, when you have a thought, that thought becomes real. When you have a negative thought of doubt, that created a scenario that was ripe for the reality of the attack of Amalek. And that's why they attacked us in the place called Rephidim. Rephidim means, says the Torah, means that our hands got weak from holding on. Hands got weak from holding on. What are you holding on to? When you have an idea, that idea can slip out of your hands, but only when you hold it tight will it stay with you. When you loosen your grip, that creates the counterforce of a loosened grip, and that's Amalek. Amalek is the force that cools us down, and it's called the cynic, sarcastic. What does it say? Yeah, right, whatever, who cares? That negative force of doubt, maybe yeah, maybe not, that is our Lex Luthor. That is our kryptonite. So Jewish people have you can have a very short-sighted view. Take a poll amongst a Jew and say, oh, who's the quintessential enemy? Oh, I don't know, the Arab world maybe. You're wrong. You're ignorant of history. The quintessential counterforce of the Jewish people is called the force of Amalek. Where do we fight it? We fought it in the development of the Jewish people from leaving Egypt to going to Mount Sinai. And we continue to fight it within. And what's that? The realm of doubt. This realm of cooling down, of not being enthusiastically connected to the ideas that we know to be true. That cooling down is what is called in English death. Death is a temperature issue. When somebody passes away, their body immediately loses temperature. They cool down by 30 to 40 degrees. And when you're into something, when you're alive, when you're passionate, your body heats up. Heat is connected with life. Coolness, that's connected with death. That cools us down. And our constant battle is this battle of between hot and cold. What does it mean? We're anti-cold, we're pro-hot. Is that why we go to Florida? No, the concept is that I want to be passionately. Everybody knows from a scientific standpoint, if you would like to have the proper endorphins and dopamine and serotonin in your brain, be involved in something that you're passionate about. Be into something. Be out of breath, metaphorically. Be so into it. If you love what you do, then it's effortless. This is where I want to be. I'm passionate about it. But if I'm not, then I'm disconnected from that reality. Okay, so we made a mistake. There's a recovery system built in. That the next verse says, Moshe says to Joshua, Yehoshua, go pick men and let's fight the battle. The quintessential battle fighter of Amalek is called Yehoshua. Who is Yehoshua? So he was the student, the main student of Moshe, of Moses. That the verse says Yehoshua, the bottom there, he was the son of Nun, and he was a person who did not depart from the tent. He was constantly studying from Moshe. He was constantly learning. What does that mean? That when we have, as we'll talk, we have this body of knowledge that we're moving towards called Torah, a guidebook of reality. This realm comes with a teacher, and it comes with the template of a student. The teacher, in Hebrew, it's called Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, our teacher. And Yehoshua is the quintessential student. The Talmud says that Moses received the Torah at Mount Sinai and he gave it to Yehoshua, he gave it to Joshua. What do you mean he gave it to Joshua? He gave it to all the Jewish people. The answer is that the quintessential receiver, the student, which we all need to be in that position, was exemplified by Yehoshua. The template of kindness is Abraham. The template of the teacher is Moshe. The template of the student is Yehoshua. Joshua, what is Yehoshua? What is Joshua? He's the template of a student. What do you need to be a student? So you need 3 important qualifications. One is your Ben Nun, the son of Nun. What does that mean? Nun in Hebrew is 50. And 50, in a Kabbalistic way, always represents this thing called the gate of hearing. In Hebrew, everyone knows hearing is Shema, the gate of having Shemiah, hearing. What's hearing? Hearing is the final frontier of knowing. Knowing, you have the information, but that information is in your head, and it needs to enter into your heart. The lave, the heart, is Shomea, means that I know that to be true. When I internalize it and make it part of me, I am at one with that. It has entered into my heart. It's entered into my lave. I understand it. I hear it. Hearing and understanding are the same thing. Hearing is not an audio issue. Oh, I hear you. It means I understand you. The word Shema doesn't mean to just hear with your ear. It means I hear you with my heart. I understand you. And the word Shema also means to become at one with. It says that Saul gathered the nation together. V'yishama Shaul es ha'am, he gathered them to be at one. When you understand someone, you are at one with them. When you understand someone, you're at one with them. The act of hearing someone, you could be listening, but you might not be hearing. The act of hearing someone means I'm at one with you. I understand you. The psychological format of Yehoshua, the quintessential student, is that he was driven to understand. I want to know how this is true. And that's why the verse calls him a nar, a young person. The Talmud says that he was possibly 56 years old at this point. Why are you calling him a nar, a kid? Nar? The answer is the word nar comes from the Hebrew word ni'ur, which means to wake up. Young people are enthusiastic because when they just have woken up, they now realize that they have intelligence. They're enthusiastic. All movements on the face of the planet throughout have always been motorized by youth. Youth is not a chronological issue. Youth is an attitude. You could be 80 and be young. You could be 16 and be old. It's a question of, are you woken up enthusiastically? He was a nar. And what did he do with that nar? So he didn't depart from the tent, meaning he pursued it. He wanted to hear it. He wanted to know it. Now, what's that? That's by asking questions. Let me break down the anatomy of questions. Question is not a rhetorical, oh, why is it true? I don't get it. Questions always are the utilization of one point of information to gain a second point of information. Well, based on what you're saying, how do we understand this? Based on that, I want to understand this. You're catapulting from a basis towards something. So when I ask a question in a real way, what I'm saying is, now that you told me, I want to hear it more. I want to hear it further. In Hebrew, it's called maven. You understand? Davar, mesoch davar. One thing within the other. Within context, now I want to hear it. The concept of a student, we mentioned 2 classes ago that you learn a lot from your rabbis, more from your friends, and the most from your students. Why? Because your student asks you a question and you never would have thought of the answer had they not asked that. So the student is a definitive part of the process. It's not, oh, you should know the Torah already, okay, I'll teach it to you. No, there's a relationship that's involved in education, which is the teacher and the student. That is the essence of who Yehoshua was. So now with that come together, I'll wrap it in. That's how you can understand what the cure is. What happened? We fell and we lost our grip. What occurred? Amalek came. And who did Moshe choose to fight Amalek? Yehoshua. Why? Because that's the antidote to the poison. The poison is whatever. I'm doubtful. The opposite of doubtful is shma, is shmiya, is hearing. When you're hearing something, you're not doubtful. Doubtfulness is two-ness, two things. I hear this and I hear that. On one hand, yeah, I just saw the sea split. On the other hand, I'm really thirsty. So sea split, God's watching over me. I'm really thirsty, maybe this is all a cosmic joke. I'm hearing two sides. When I'm in the zone of shmiya, of real shmiya, I am at one with the concept. That is, that motion, that action, that is the antidote to Amalek. Who fights Amalek? The battle of Amalek, of whateverness, passionlessness, coldness, sarcastic. The antidote to that is being enthusiastic, is asking questions, is wanting to know, is being young. When do you know that you're really gotten old? When you no longer care to ask. You no longer care to find out. You're whatever. The opposite. Who does Moshe choose to fight? And that's the message to us. It's Yoshua. And that's it. There's a Yoshua in all of us. It means that all of us, to fight Amalek, need to activate what's called that inner student, the inner person that wants to know and get it clear. Now, in conclusion, what's really important is that mistakes are part of development. Very important. On one hand, you have a surface view of what it's saying. Wow, it's so sad. We came out of Egypt and man, the anti-Semites, can't believe it. And then they attacked us in Retrieval. No, things happen for a reason. And most important message of take home is that falling is part of growing. Yeah, we made a mistake. We were doubtful and lost grip. Amalek came and we fought. That falling, realizing the mistake and fixing it is the preparation that was necessary in our development towards this, our end goal of receiving the Torah. Meaning that just like we had to be in Egypt and we had to leave, it wasn't random. We had to go through the sea, it wasn't random. We had to go into the desert, fall, fight Amalek through the leadership of Yehoshua. That also is not random. That's part of the preparation for the Jewish people at that time, 1313 BCE, to receive the Torah, and that's part of our preparation now in this generation to receive the Torah, which is that all of us we go through self-admittedly stages of Amalek, stages of doubt, stages of coolness, stages where we've lost our clarity, stages where we've lost our enthusiasm. We have them. It's okay. The goal is not to avoid it, but to fight it. And what do you fight it with? The power of Yehoshua, the power of Shema, the power of, I want to be a student, I want to understand. And if you don't unlock the student within, then you're old. That's the worst thing to hear. None of us want to hear it. All of us view ourselves as still in high school. I'm young. You look at people, I first started parent-teacher conference, I'm like, what are you talking to me for? I can't believe this. Like, you're asking me? I'm a kid. I just graduated. I go, I'm not the teacher, but I was. But all of us have that inner feeling of, I don't want to be old. I want to be young. Fountain of youth. It's not a Botox issue. Fountain of youth is in a questioning issue that I still have the ability in my life to get it clear. Clarity is not a privilege that I cannot access. I could live clear. So in answer to the question of how do you regain the clarity that you lost, the answer, you get it back by seeking it forward. It's really important. You get it back. We were so clear when we went through the sea. Now I'm not so clear. Can I just rewind? All of us sometimes, I just want to get back to where I was. You can never get back to where you were. And that's not the point. It's the desire, I want to get back to where I was, that will propel you forward to get to a better place. How do you get to that better place? You do it by asking. Asking is when you're clawing at reality and saying, I want to be at one with you. I am lunging towards truth and saying, what is it? I really want to be at one with it. I'm going to let that come out. When we do that, then we get back what we lost. Or better said, when we do it, we get towards where we should be going. That's the next step in development.